Oh, man. Republican presidential candidate and frontrunner Nikki Haley, I had the frontrunner part, re upped her call for a new generational leader on Saturday. As she and a growing field of 2024 Republican presidential candidates attempt to separate themselves from former President Trump. We've got to start doing this in a way that we can win a general election, Haley said at Senator Joni Ernst's annual Roast and Ride fundraiser in Des Moines. It's time for a new generational leader. We've got to leave the baggage and negativity behind, she continued. We've got a country to save. The former South Carolina governor and U.S. ambassador to the United Nations has made age and mental fitness a key issue in her campaign. She has repeatedly called for mental competency tests for politicians over certain. Okay, they were talking about Trump and Biden, whatever. We're ready to move past the stale ideas and faded names of the past, Haley said at a campaign rally in February. And we are more than ready for a new generation to lead us into the future. She has previously used the concept of new generational leadership to separate herself from Trump, who is polling well ahead of the rest of the Republican field. Look at everything that's wrong in this country and tell me we don't need new leadership, she told Fox News host Sean Hannity when asked about her differences with the former president. But the difference is we need new generational leadership. We have to leave the status quo. We have to leave the chaos behind, and we've got to start talking about the future, she added at the time. Haley has also taken the most direct aim at Biden's age, suggesting that it's unlikely that he would make it to 86 years old, the age he would be at the end of this a second term. So, what's really funny about her desire to see a new generation, new generational change, is that it's actually a very sneaky. So, what I've said before is the Republican field, with the exception of Trump and DeSantis, has an identity crisis where the people running against Trump, and to a lesser extent DeSantis, but really against Trump, have had a difficult time being able to carve out a lane for themselves. They all tend to agree with him on pretty much everything. And so this causes them month after month to poll at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%, along with the fact that many of them are unknowns that nobody's ever heard of. Um, but what's really comedic to me is when you have someone who says, we've got to start doing this in a way that we can win a general election. And then they don't expand at all on what their point is. Like, if you actually listen to her policy, I'm not talking about the stupid mental competency test in neither of those is going to pass whatsoever. Mainly because politicians are not going to impose rules upon themselves. We couldn't even get them to check the president's war powers, for example, in many cases. But just looking at her general beliefs, this is someone who is supportive of Trump's border wall. This is someone who supported cutting Medicare and Social Security. Remember, Trump said that's the real Nikki Haley. So, what about her proposals? All this stuff about new generation leadership. What about any of that is new or distinct or unique? Again, the only thing she has going for herself is stuff that's stupid. Crying about the age of politicians and mental test. Really, that's one of the reasons why she chose to make the relatively in poor taste, but I'm fine with it personally. Comments about Biden probably not living to see 86 because she has no lane for herself other than I am female and I'm kind of young. And when I say kind of, I'm just referring to in the general sense that a lot of these other people are in their 70s and 80s. So let me couch the fact that I'm an empty suit with no actual substantive differences with Trump by highlighting my age and gender as an excuse to get people to support me. And like I said, when she first got in this race, there was a part of me, and I'm getting closer to just not covering her at all at this point because I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. But there was a part of me that was really excited at the prospect of, okay, you've got this young governor who had 2 terms and doesn't really do the whole woke thing and didn't really get associated with the anti-COVID stuff. This is someone that maybe can be appealing in a general election, and maybe she, as a non-office holding person, can say the stuff that people aren't going to say about how Trump's the only person running that lost to the current president. Like there was a lane for, there was a path that I thought she was going to take that I do believe if she took, maybe she would not. I'm not going to say she'd be polling as well as Trump because I still think a lot of that is name recognition, but I think she'd be polling much higher because I think the voters would respect her more if she didn't try to kowtow and get caught up on this stupid stuff about mental tests and and term limits. When in reality, most voters don't care about those types of things. You really think if somebody is sitting over there hasn't and they live in Texas, which hasn't had a wage increase in over 10 years, that they care if their senators in their third or fourth term or that their congressman is over 78? Like who? So I said it's stupid stuff. So she really has destroyed her own campaign. Um, One of my subs, Jem, he often says that she has no chance, and I'm inclined to agree at this point. It just seems like it's all just this big PR thing where it like she's not really running to be, and people have speculated this before. She's not running for president, but to be VP. I'm actually thinking more so along the line because you don't. I don't think you run against Trump if you want to be his VP. That's just not a thing I think you would do if you're serious about getting the job. I think the egotism that she has is similar to the rest of the Republicans, where they're like, I can do it, I can beat Trump if I just go out and give my lame, stupid speech about platitudes, and yeah, I can win. And I think that's her legitimate belief that she can win. But I also think that another part of it as to why her advisors might have suggested it is probably to just get her name recognition out there so you can land some job on Fox or some other thing in the public sphere that's not actually winning this election. So it's very sad. I'm gonna try to cover her less. I feel like I'm already doing that more so than I did when she first started, because it's like going back to her campaign is the equivalent of seeing junk piling up on the street, and every time you drive by or you walk by, there's more and more junk that's piling up, and you keep wondering why no one can pick up that trash, why no one can just put out of its misery, put it in the can that's like right next door or 2 blocks down. But really, it just comes down to people don't want to, and just like people don't want to take that trash out and get it off the street, Haley does not want to challenge Trump in a way that could make her a formidable adversary in the primary. And I think that is why I've gotten to a point where I'm just numb to even reporting on her.